Hello and welcome back to Cheating Tales Lab. We're grateful for each view and comment. Tell us, from which country or city are you watching today? We enjoy connecting with our global audience. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1: Foundations of Sand. Nathan Drake never considered himself a vengeful man. At 42, he had built his security consulting firm from nothing, transforming it into one of the most respected private intelligence operations on the East Coast. His clients included foreign dignitaries, corporate executives, and occasionally, government agencies that preferred to keep their intelligence gathering off the books. The irony wasn't lost on him that a man who made his living uncovering secrets had missed the ones festering in his own home. Nathan's 12-year marriage to Valerie had started like a fairy tale. She was a marketing executive when they met, sharp, ambitious, and stunning. They'd built what appeared to be a perfect life in their Westchester estate, complete with their 10-year-old son, Logan, who had inherited Nathan's analytical mind and Valerie's charismatic smile. On this particular Tuesday morning, Nathan sat in his downtown office overlooking the Hudson River, reviewing surveillance footage for a client when his phone buzzed. An alert from one of his home security systems. He had installed them not out of paranoia but professional habit, though lately, certain inconsistencies had made him grateful for the precaution. The timestamp showed 11:17 a.m. Valerie should have been at work. Instead, the footage showed her entering their home with a man Nathan recognized as Ryan Braxton, Logan's school principal. Nathan's jaw tightened as he watched them move through his house with the familiarity of routine. He'd suspected something for months: the late meetings, the business trips that couldn't be verified, the growing emotional distance. But seeing it unfold on camera was different. Clinical. Undeniable. He switched cameras to follow their movement upstairs. Before they disappeared into the master bedroom, he caught a glimpse of Valerie's mother, Patricia Lawson, sitting in the kitchen. Her presence was another knife twist. Patricia had never approved of Nathan, constantly reminding Valerie she had married beneath her station. Now she was apparently keeping watch while her daughter conducted her affair. Nathan stopped the footage. He didn't need to see more. Years of military service followed by intelligence work had taught him to compartmentalize emotions. He locked away the surge of betrayal and began formulating his response with methodical precision. His phone rang. It was Dale Reynolds, his oldest friend and business partner. "You still planning Logan's party for Saturday?" Dale asked after they discussed business. "Of course," Nathan replied, his voice betraying nothing of what he'd just witnessed. "Valerie wants to go all out this year. Apparently, turning 10 is a milestone. Need any help setting up?" Nathan glanced at the frozen image on his monitor. "Actually, I might. I have a special project in mind." After hanging up, Nathan pulled up his calendar. His eyes fell on two critical dates: Logan's birthday party on Saturday and his appointment next week with Sophia Bennett, his attorney. Ms. Bennett had no idea that their scheduled estate planning review would actually involve divorce plans, but Nathan believed in being prepared. He opened his laptop and began methodically copying files from his secure server. The notification from his doorbell camera flashed again. Braxton was leaving, adjusting his tie with a satisfied smirk that made Nathan's blood boil. Valerie kissed him goodbye at the door, unaware of the cameras capturing every moment. Nathan stared at his wife's face on the screen. 12 years together, and she had become a stranger. But the real question troubling him wasn't about Valerie's betrayal. It was about how much his mother-in-law and possibly others knew. How long had he been the subject of their ridicule? His computer chimed with an incoming email. The message preview showed a single line from Valerie: "Don't forget to pick up the decorations for Logan's party." Nathan closed the notification without responding and returned to compiling his evidence. Saturday would come soon enough. Chapter 2: Shadows and Whispers. The next few days passed in a carefully orchestrated performance. Nathan maintained his routine, leaving for work at his usual hour, returning home to have dinner with his family, helping Logan with homework. On the surface, nothing had changed. Below that facade, Nathan was building his case. The security system he'd installed throughout their home had been capturing more than he'd initially let on to Valerie. What she believed were simple motion sensors and cameras were actually equipped with audio recording capabilities, activated months ago when he first noticed discrepancies in her behavior. Wednesday evening, Nathan sat in his home office reviewing footage from the previous months. The picture it painted was damning. He doesn't suspect a thing. Valerie's voice came through clearly on a recording from 2 weeks earlier. She was speaking to her mother in the kitchen. Nathan's too busy with his precious company to notice what's happening right under his nose. Patricia's shrill laugh grated on Nathan's ears. Men like him never do. That's why I told you to go with Ryan. At least he appreciates what he has. We just need to wait until the Anderson contract closes, Valerie continued. Once Nathan secures that, we'll have enough for the divorce settlement I want. And Logan? He'll adjust. Besides, Ryan's better with him than Nathan ever was. All Nathan does is fill his head with paranoid security talk. The boy needs normalcy, not whatever twisted worldview his father has. Nathan stopped the recording, his expression unchanged despite the rage building inside. The Anderson contract they mentioned was a $30 million security overhaul for a multinational corporation, the largest deal his company had ever pursued. The contract that Valerie, with her marketing connections, had helped him secure. A soft knock interrupted his thoughts. Logan stood in the doorway, clutching a notebook. Dad, can you help me with something? Nathan closed his laptop and gestured for his son to enter. Of course. What's up, buddy? Logan approached hesitantly. I'm making something special for my birthday, but I need some technical help. Nathan studied his son's face. Logan had his mother's delicate features, but Nathan's intense blue eyes that now seemed troubled. What kind of technical help? Logan explained his project, a digital presentation for the party. As he talked, Nathan noticed something in his son's demeanor, a guardedness that hadn't been there before. Is everything okay at school? Nathan asked carefully. Logan shrugged. Principal Braxton keeps asking me weird questions about you and your work. He says he's just interested because of your cool job, but it feels strange. Nathan maintained a neutral expression despite the confirmation of his suspicions. Braxton wasn't just sleeping with his wife. He was using his position to extract information from Logan. People are often curious about security work, Nathan said casually. But remember what I taught you about information sharing. Need to know basis only. Logan recited with a small smile. That's why I haven't told him anything important. Pride swelled in Nathan's chest. That's my boy. After helping Logan with his project, Nathan walked him back to his room. As they passed the master bedroom, he heard Valerie on the phone, her voice low. Everything's set for Saturday, she was saying. Mother will make her announcement after the cake. Nathan's jaw clenched. So there was more to this birthday party than he'd been told. Another performance, another deception. But this time, he was prepared. Later that night, as Valerie slept, Nathan slipped out of bed and into his home office. He connected a small device to his computer and began downloading files onto a USB drive. Not just any USB drive, but one custom designed by his tech team. Unassuming in appearance, but containing proprietary software. His phone buzzed with a text from Dale. Equipment ready for Saturday. Operation Empty Boxes Go. Nathan allowed himself a grim smile as he typed his response. Perfect. They won't know what hit them. Chapter 3. The Birthday Betrayal. Saturday arrived with picture-perfect weather. The backyard of the Drake residence had been transformed into a playground paradise, with streamers, balloons, and a bounce house for Logan and his friends. Valerie had spared no expense, hiring caterers, entertainers, and even a professional photographer to document the occasion. Nathan moved through the crowd of parents and children with practiced ease, playing the role of proud father and gracious host. He kept his distance from Patricia, who held court near the buffet table, regaling the other mothers with stories that frequently drew critical glances in his direction. Quite the spread, Dale commented, appearing at Nathan's side with a plate of food. Valerie really went all out. It's all for show, Nathan replied quietly. Did you set everything up? Dale nodded subtly. Cameras are in place. Audio is crystal clear. Whatever goes down today, we'll have it all on record. And the other preparation? Ready and waiting. Your attorney has everything she needs, secure server access included. One word from you, and it all goes live. Nathan's attention shifted to the gift table, where Valerie was arranging presents with meticulous care. Her hands lingered on a small package wrapped in silver paper, a gift he hadn't seen before. It's almost time, he said, checking his watch. Where's Logan? As if on cue, his son emerged from the house, accompanied by Principal Braxton. The sight of the man in his home, acting as if he belonged there, set Nathan's teeth on edge. Logan broke away and ran to his father. Dad, is it time for presents yet? Nathan knelt to his son's level. Almost. First, I wanted to give you something privately. He reached into his pocket and handed Logan a small box. This was my father's. He gave it to me when I turned 10. Logan opened the box to reveal a vintage compass, its needle still pointing true north. So you'll always find your way home, Nathan said softly. Logan's eyes widened in genuine appreciation. Thanks, Dad. He hesitated, then whispered, I have something special for you and Mom too. But it's for later. Nathan squeezed his son's shoulder. I'm looking forward to it. The party progressed to the main event, presents and cake. Logan sat at the head of the table, surrounded by friends and family, his face glowing with excitement as he tore through colorfully wrapped packages. Video game consoles, sports equipment, books. Each gift was met with enthusiastic gratitude. Finally, only 2 presents remained. Valerie stepped forward with the silver package Nathan had noticed earlier. This one's special, honey, she said, her voice carrying across the suddenly quiet gathering. From me and Grandma. Logan unwrapped it eagerly, only to find an empty box inside. His confusion was evident as he turned it over, searching for contents that weren't there. Valerie laughed, the sound cutting through the awkward silence. Just like your dad, she said loudly. Promises nothing inside. Patricia nodded from her seat of honor. Worthless father, worthless son, she added with a smirk that failed to disguise the cruelty of her words. The assembled guests fell into uncomfortable silence. Some parents shifted awkwardly, others pretended not to hear. Logan's friends looked confused and embarrassed for him. Nathan watched his son's eyes fill with tears, feeling ice form around his heart. This public humiliation had been planned, a coordinated attack meant to diminish both him and Logan before initiating whatever announcement Patricia had planned. But before either woman could continue, Logan straightened his shoulders and reached for his backpack beside the table. I got you something too, Mom, he said, his voice small but steady. He handed Valerie a small USB drive, unremarkable except for a custom dragon logo Nathan recognized as his company's security marker. Confusion crossed Valerie's face. What's this, sweetie? Play it, Logan said simply. The photographer Valerie had hired was equipped with a laptop for previewing photos. Valerie walked over and plugged in the drive without hesitation, her expression confident, until the screen came to life. The video began playing automatically, displaying footage from their home security system. It showed Valerie and Ryan Braxton entering the master bedroom. But instead of intimate footage, which everyone seemed to be bracing for, the video cut to a series of conversations. Valerie and Patricia discussing their plans, Braxton on the phone describing how he was extracting information about Nathan's business from Logan, detailed discussions of the divorce strategy timed to the Anderson contract. The room went deathly silent. Nathan stepped forward, placing a protective hand on Logan's shoulder. I believe this party's over, he said, his voice even despite the thunder of vindication in his chest. Logan, why don't you take your friends to the game room? The adults need to talk. As the children filtered out, guided by Dale, Nathan turned to face the stunned guests. I apologize for the drama, he said calmly. It seems my wife, her mother, and Principal Braxton have been planning a surprise announcement. Perhaps they'd like to share it now? Valerie's face had drained of color. Nathan, I can explain. No need, he cut her off. Logan already did the explaining for all of us. He turned to the remaining guests. Thank you all for coming. I'm afraid we need to cut the celebration short due to unforeseen family matters. As people began gathering their belongings, murmuring in shocked tones, Nathan approached his mother-in-law. Patricia, he said quietly, I believe your ride is waiting. The older woman's face contorted with rage. This isn't over. You've just embarrassed your son in front of all his friends. Nathan's smile never reached his eyes. No, that's what you and your daughter attempted to do. What I've done is show him that truth always finds a way out. He turned to Braxton, who was attempting to slip away unnoticed. Principal Braxton, I'd advise against leaving just yet. The school board might be interested in how you've been interrogating students about their parents' business dealings. Valerie grabbed Nathan's arm. You're ruining everything. No, Valerie, he replied, removing her hand. I'm just getting started. Chapter 4, Aftermath. The house stood empty and silent the morning after the party. Logan had spent the night at Dale's home, a precaution Nathan had arranged in anticipation of the fallout. Nathan himself had stayed in a hotel, leaving Valerie to deal with the wreckage of her exposed deception. Now, sitting in his attorney's office, Nathan watched Sophia Bennett review the evidence he'd compiled over the past months. "This is comprehensive," she said, scrolling through the files. "The recording from the birthday party alone would give you significant leverage, but combined with the rest." She paused, looking up at him. "Mr. Drake, may I speak frankly?" Nathan nodded. "You have enough here to destroy your wife in divorce proceedings. Full custody, minimal alimony, possibly even criminal charges against Principal Braxton for attempting to extract confidential information about your business through your son. And Patricia Lawson?" Sophia leaned back in her chair. "Defamation, potentially." Her worthless comment was made publicly and clearly intended to harm both your and Logan's reputation. Nathan considered this. "I don't want a lengthy court battle. Logan's been through enough." "With this evidence, there won't be one," Sophia assured him. "But I'm curious, the USB drive from your son. Did you know what was on it?" "No," Nathan admitted. "That was Logan's initiative. I've been teaching him about security since he was old enough to understand. When he asked for help with his special project last week, I provided some technical guidance, but the content was all him. He'd been recording conversations on his own using equipment from my home office." Sophia's expression softened slightly. "He sounds like a remarkable child." "He is," Nathan agreed. "And that's why what happens next needs to be calculated, not just for my sake, but for his." The conversation shifted to strategy. By the time Nathan left Sophia's office, they had mapped out a clear path forward: immediate divorce proceedings, temporary custody arrangements, and a carefully crafted statement for the school board regarding Braxton's misconduct. Nathan drove directly to Dale's house, where Logan was waiting. The boy looked up anxiously as his father entered. "Is Mom really mad?" he asked immediately. Nathan sat beside him on the couch. "She's upset, but not with you. Never with you. I heard her and Grandma talking about you," Logan said, his voice small. "They said awful things. And Principal Braxton kept asking me questions about your work, about the security systems you design. It didn't feel right." Nathan felt a surge of pride mixed with sadness. His 10-year-old son had recognized a threat and acted to protect him, when it should have been the other way around. "You did nothing wrong," Nathan assured him. "But the next few weeks are going to be complicated. Your mom and I need to work some things out." "Are you getting divorced?" Logan asked directly. Nathan didn't insult his son's intelligence by sugarcoating the truth. "Yes." Logan nodded, processing this. "Where will I live? That's part of what we need to figure out. For now, we'll stay with Uncle Dale for a few days. Is that okay?" Logan nodded again, then looked up with worried eyes. "Dad, there's something else you should know. Principal Braxton wasn't just asking about your work. He was asking about the Anderson contract specifically. I heard Mom tell him about the security details you were planning." Nathan went still. "What security details, Logan?" "The ones for their headquarters. The blueprints you were working on at home." Cold realization washed over Nathan. The Anderson contract wasn't just the biggest deal of his career. It involved designing cutting-edge security for their global headquarters, including proprietary technology his company had developed. If Braxton had gotten hold of those designs. "Logan, did you happen to record any of those conversations about the Anderson contract?" The boy nodded. "They're on my computer. I didn't put everything on the USB." Nathan pulled out his phone and dialed Dale. "We need to secure Logan's computer immediately. And call Ronnie. We've got a potential corporate espionage situation." Within hours, Nathan's team had retrieved Logan's computer and extracted the additional recordings. What they found confirmed his worst fears. Braxton wasn't just having an affair with Valerie. He was working for a competitor, using Valerie to access Nathan's security designs. That evening, as Logan slept in the guest room of Dale's home, Nathan sat with his old friend reviewing the evidence. "She sold you out," Dale said bluntly. "Not just personally, but professionally." "The question is why," Nathan replied. "Valerie knows the value of the Anderson contract. She helped broker the deal." "Maybe that was the plan all along," Dale suggested. "Get you the contract, steal the designs, deliver them to the competition." "Which means this goes beyond Braxton," Nathan concluded. "Someone bigger is pulling the strings." His phone rang, a number he didn't recognize. When he answered, a familiar voice came through. "Nathan? It's Ryan Braxton. We need to talk." Nathan's grip tightened on the phone. I think we said everything necessary at the birthday party. You don't understand, Braxton insisted, his voice strained. I'm not the mastermind here. I'm just as much a pawn as you were. A pawn who was sleeping with my wife and interrogating my son, Nathan replied coldly. Listen to me, Braxton hissed. Your mother-in-law, Patricia, she's not who you think she is. She's connected. Dangerous. She's using Valerie, using me, using all of us. Nathan exchanged glances with Dale. Why should I believe anything you say? Because I'm dead if you don't, Braxton replied. Check your email. I've sent you something that explains everything. But be careful who you share it with. Patricia has people everywhere. The call ended abruptly. Nathan immediately checked his email to find a message from Braxton containing a single file. A photograph of Patricia Lawson shaking hands with Bernard Hoffman, CEO of Sentinel Solutions, Nathan's biggest competitor and the company currently being investigated for multiple corporate espionage cases. Well, Dale said, looking over Nathan's shoulder. This just got more interesting. Chapter 5, The Spider's Web. Nathan woke before dawn, his mind already racing with the implications of Braxton's revelation. If Patricia was connected to Sentinel Solutions, the scope of betrayal was far greater than a simple affair or divorce scheme. He slipped out of bed in Dale's guest room and made his way to the kitchen, where he found his friend already awake, nursing a cup of coffee. Couldn't sleep either? Dale asked, sliding a mug toward Nathan. Too many pieces that don't fit, Nathan replied, accepting the coffee. Why would Patricia orchestrate all this? What's her angle? Dale pulled out his tablet and brought up a series of documents. I did some digging after you showed me that photo. Patricia Lawson wasn't always Patricia Lawson. Before she married Valerie's father, she was Patricia Hoffman. Nathan stared at him. Related to Bernard Hoffman? His sister, Dale confirmed. They had a falling out years ago, at least publicly. But I'm starting to think it was all for show. The revelation sent Nathan's mind racing. If Patricia was Bernard Hoffman's sister, her animosity toward Nathan wasn't just personal, it was business. Sentinel Solutions had been trying to undermine Nathan's company for years, losing contracts to his superior technology and methodology. So Patricia pushed Valerie toward me, knowing my business was growing, Nathan theorized. She encouraged the relationship, the marriage, all while feeding information back to her brother. It's the long game, Dale agreed. Position Valerie as your wife, gain access to your work, and when the time is right, like with the Anderson contract, extract what they need and discard you. Nathan's phone buzzed with a text from Sophia Bennett. Emergency. Valerie filed restraining order this morning. Claims you threatened her after party. Court appearance 11 a.m. today. They're moving faster than anticipated, Nathan muttered, showing Dale the message. Classic misdirection, Dale said. While you're dealing with false accusations, they can cover their tracks on the corporate side. Nathan stood up, his decision made. I need you to watch Logan today. Keep him safe, no matter what. What are you going to do? Spring their trap, Nathan replied. But first, I need to see Braxton again. An hour later, Nathan sat in a quiet diner on the outskirts of town. Braxton arrived looking disheveled, his usual confidence replaced by nervous energy. I didn't think you'd actually come, he said, sliding into the booth opposite Nathan. Start talking, Nathan replied coldly. Everything you know about Patricia and Sentinel. Braxton ran a hand through his thinning hair. I never meant for it to go this far. When I started seeing Valerie, it was genuine. At least for me. Save the romance for someone who cares, Nathan cut him off. Focus on Patricia. Braxton nodded, appropriately chastened. It started 6 months ago. Valerie introduced me to her mother, who mentioned she knew people at Sentinel Solutions. Said they might be interested in donating to our school's STEM program. And you believe that? At first, yes. The donation came through, $50,000. But then Patricia started asking for favors. Information about you, about your work. Said she was worried about Valerie's future, wanted to make sure your business was stable. And what did Valerie say about all this? Braxton looked down. She was all for it. Said you were distant, obsessed with work, that you didn't really care about her or Logan. Patricia convinced her you were hiding money, planning to leave her with nothing. Nathan's jaw tightened. So you started pumping my son for information. Patricia's idea, Braxton admitted. She said Logan would know things Valerie didn't. The layout of your home office, where you kept your files, when you worked late. And the Anderson contract? That was the endgame all along. Patricia knew it was worth millions, not just the contract itself, but the proprietary technology. If Sentinel could get those designs, they'd corner the market, Nathan finished for him. And what was your cut going to be? Braxton looked genuinely surprised. Cut? I wasn't getting paid. Patricia promised to make me superintendent after the current one retires next year. Said she had the connections to make it happen. Nathan studied the man before him. Braxton might be a cheater and a fool, but he was also a pawn, one who had outlived his usefulness to Patricia. Why come to me now? Nathan asked. Why the warning? Braxton's eyes darted nervously around the diner. Because yesterday, after everything fell apart at the party, I got a visit from two men. They didn't identify themselves, but they made it clear that if the Anderson designs don't make it to Sentinel within the week, I'll be taking the fall for everything. Corporate espionage, extortion, they even hinted at planting evidence of financial misconduct at the school. And you think I can protect you? I think you're the only one who can, Braxton replied desperately. Patricia has connections I never imagined. Police, local government, even judges. Nathan considered this information. If Patricia had as much influence as Braxton claimed, the restraining order was just the beginning. She would use every resource to neutralize Nathan and secure the Anderson designs. Here's what's going to happen, Nathan said finally. You're going to go back to Patricia and tell her you've spoken with me, that I'm falling apart, ready to hand over everything just to keep custody of Logan. But then, Nathan continued, you're going to set up a meeting. Tell her I want to make a deal. The Anderson designs in exchange for a clean divorce and shared custody. Braxton looked skeptical. She'll never believe I convinced you that easily. Make her believe it, Nathan replied coldly. Your future depends on it. After Braxton left, Nathan made a series of calls, first to Sophia to discuss strategy for the restraining order hearing, then to his security team to implement enhanced protocols around the Anderson designs, and finally to an old contact from his military days. Mason, he said when the call connected. I need your expertise on something delicate. By the time Nathan arrived at the courthouse for the restraining order hearing, he had set his counteroffensive in motion. Valerie was already there with her attorney, a sharp-looking woman Nathan recognized as one of the top divorce lawyers in the state. Patricia sat behind them, her expression smug. The hearing itself was brief but contentious. Valerie tearfully described how Nathan had threatened her after the party, how she feared for her safety and Logan's. Her attorney presented affidavits from witnesses, parents who had allegedly overheard Nathan's threats. When it was Nathan's turn, he simply played the complete audio recording from the birthday party, capturing not only the empty box incident, but the aftermath, his calm instructions to Logan to take his friends inside, his controlled conversations with the guests, and most importantly, the absence of any threats. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, dismissed the restraining order request and admonished Valerie's attorney for filing frivolous claims. As they exited the courtroom, Nathan caught Patricia's eye. The older woman's smug expression had hardened into something closer to hatred. This isn't over, she whispered as they passed in the hallway. You're right about that, Nathan replied quietly. It's just beginning. Chapter 6, Counteroffensive. The Anderson Corporation's headquarters occupied a gleaming glass tower in downtown Manhattan. Nathan sat in the CEO's office, explaining the situation to Howard Anderson himself. So you're telling me that your mother-in-law is attempting corporate espionage to steal your security designs for our building? Anderson asked, his bushy eyebrows raised in skepticism. I know how it sounds, Nathan acknowledged. But the evidence is compelling. He slid a folder across the desk containing the recordings from Logan's computer, transcripts of Braxton's confession, and the photograph connecting Patricia to Bernard Hoffman. Anderson reviewed the materials carefully, his expression growing more serious with each page. If this is true, it's not just about stealing designs. It's about compromising my company's security. Exactly, Nathan confirmed. Which is why I'm proposing a modification to our arrangement. What kind of modification? Nathan leaned forward. We proceed as planned, but with a twist. We let Patricia and Sentinel believe they're getting the actual designs, when in fact, we're feeding them false information, Anderson finished, a slow smile spreading across his face. I like how you think, Drake. The meeting concluded with a new plan in place, one that would not only protect the Anderson contract, but potentially expose Sentinel's corporate espionage operation once and for all. From Anderson's office, Nathan went directly to meet Mason at a nondescript office building in Midtown. Unlike the corporate polish of Anderson's headquarters, Mason's operation had a deliberately forgettable quality, the kind of place your eyes might slide past without registering. Mason himself was equally unassuming. Average height, average build, thinning brown hair. Only his eyes, sharp and assessing, hinted at his background in military intelligence. "How's civilian life treating you?" Nathan asked as they settled into Mason's secure conference room. "Less exciting than your situation," Mason replied dryly. "Corporate espionage, family betrayal. You're keeping things interesting." Nathan smiled grimly. "Not by choice." "What did you find?" Mason activated a screen on the wall displaying a complex network of connections. Patricia Lawson, née Hoffman. On the surface, just a wealthy widow who serves on charity boards and hosts garden parties. Beneath that, she's the silent partner in several shell companies that all lead back to Sentinel Solutions. "Can we prove the connection legally?" "Not easily," Mason admitted. "She's careful. Uses cutouts, proxies. But there's more." He pulled up a series of photographs showing Patricia meeting with various individuals. These men are all employed by a private security firm with a troubling reputation. They specialize in corporate extraction, everything from data theft to executive intimidation. The men who threatened Braxton, Nathan realized. Likely, and based on their recent movements, they're preparing for something big. Nathan studied the images. "How soon?" "Days, not weeks," Mason replied. "They're moving equipment, setting up surveillance. Whatever Patricia and Sentinel are planning, it's imminent." Nathan outlined his counteroffensive, explaining the false designs he and Anderson had prepared. Mason listened carefully, occasionally suggesting refinements to the strategy. "It could work," he said finally. "But there's significant risk, especially with Logan involved." "I've arranged for him to stay with Dale at a secure location," Nathan assured him. "No one knows where they are." As Nathan prepared to leave, Mason handed him a small device. "Emergency beacon. If things go sideways, activate it. I'll have a team on standby." Nathan pocketed the device. "Let's hope it doesn't come to that." That evening, Nathan returned to Dale's house to find Logan engrossed in a video game with Dale's son, Ben. The normalcy of the scene, two boys laughing, competing, momentarily forgetting the adult chaos around them, reminded Nathan what he was fighting for. After Logan went to bed, Nathan briefed Dale on the developments. "So the plan is to give them fake designs," Dale summarized. "What happens when they realize they've been duped?" "By then, we'll have enough evidence to bring in federal authorities," Nathan explained. "Corporate espionage at this level crosses state lines, involves multiple jurisdictions." "And Valerie? Where does she fit in all this?" Nathan's expression hardened. "That depends on her next move. Braxton set up the meeting for tomorrow night. If she shows up with Patricia, she'll have made her choice," Dale finished. Nathan nodded, a cold determination settling over him. Everyone gets one chance to choose sides. After that, there are consequences. Later that night, as Nathan was reviewing the final details of his plan, his phone buzzed with a text from Valerie. "We need to talk. About Logan. Please." Nathan stared at the message, considering the possibility it was a trap. After a moment, he replied, "Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Our house." The response came quickly. "Thank you. I'll be there." Nathan set the phone down, his mind racing. Was Valerie having second thoughts? Or was this another layer of Patricia's scheme? Either way, tomorrow would bring answers, and set in motion the final phase of his counterstrike. Chapter 7. The Confrontation. The Drake residence stood quiet in the gathering dusk as Nathan approached. He had arrived early to sweep for surveillance devices, finding 3 new ones placed since the birthday party. He left them untouched. Better to let Patricia think her eyes and ears were still working. At precisely 7 p.m., Valerie's car pulled into the driveway. She entered the house tentatively, as if uncertain of her welcome in what had once been her home. "Nathan," she called out, her voice echoing in the foyer. "In the living room," he replied. Valerie appeared in the doorway, her carefully applied makeup failing to hide the strain of recent days. She wore an expensive dress Nathan had never seen before, her wedding ring conspicuously absent. "Thank you for meeting me," she began, remaining standing when Nathan made no move to rise from his seat. "I wanted to talk about Logan, about arrangements going forward." "What arrangements did you have in mind?" Nathan asked neutrally. Valerie took a deep breath. I know things got complicated at the party. Things were said that can't be unsaid. But Logan deserves better than to be caught in the middle of our issues. Our issues, Nathan repeated flatly. Is that what you call conspiring with your mother and your lover to steal trade secrets from my company? It wasn't like that, Valerie protested weakly. Things got out of hand. My mother. Stop, Nathan cut her off. Don't insult my intelligence by playing the victim. I've heard the recordings, Valerie. All of them, including the ones Logan made that weren't on the USB drive. Valerie paled. What recordings? The ones where you and your mother discuss using the Anderson contract to bankrupt me. Where you coach Braxton on what questions to ask Logan about my security systems. Where you laugh about how I'll be destroyed when the plan comes together. Silence fell between them, heavy with the weight of exposed betrayal. What do you want? Valerie finally asked, her pretense of maternal concern crumbling. The truth, Nathan replied simply. Starting with how long you've been working for Sentinel Solutions. Valerie's eyes widened in genuine surprise. What? Your mother's connection to Bernard Hoffman. The corporate espionage operation targeting my company. How much did you know? Confusion crossed Valerie's face. Bernard Hoffman? What does he have to do with this? Nathan studied her carefully. Either Valerie was an exceptional actress, or she truly didn't know about Patricia's connection to Sentinel. Your mother is Patricia Hoffman, he said bluntly. Bernard Hoffman's sister. The man who runs Sentinel Solutions, my biggest competitor, and the company currently trying to steal the Anderson designs. Valerie sank onto the couch, visibly shaken. That's impossible. My mother's maiden name was Preston. My grandfather was Theodore Preston. He owned textile factories in Massachusetts. That's the story she told you, Nathan agreed. But it's fiction. Your mother reinvented herself after some kind of falling out with her brother. She's been using you, Valerie. Using us both. He passed her a tablet containing Mason's research, birth certificates, name change documents, old photographs showing a younger Patricia with Bernard Hoffman. This can't be real, Valerie whispered, but her voice lacked conviction as she scrolled through the evidence. It explains why she pushed you toward me from the beginning, Nathan continued. Why she suddenly approved of our relationship after initially objecting. She saw an opportunity to place someone close to me, to my work. Valerie looked up, anger flashing in her eyes. So you think our entire marriage was a setup? That I never loved you? That Logan was just part of the plan? I think, Nathan said carefully, that your mother saw an opportunity and exploited it. Whether you were a willing participant from the beginning or got pulled in later, that's what I'm trying to determine. Valerie stood abruptly, pacing the room. This is insane. My mother wouldn't, she couldn't. She stopped, a memory visibly surfacing. The Anderson contract. When I told her about it, she was so interested. Asked so many questions about the security systems, the timeline, your design process. And Braxton? How does he fit in? Valerie's laugh was hollow. Ryan was my mother's idea. She introduced us at a school fundraiser last year. Said he was perfect for me. Understood my situation with you. The pieces were falling into place. Patricia had orchestrated everything. The affair with Braxton, the information gathering, the timing of the divorce to coincide with the Anderson contract. There's a meeting tonight, Nathan said. Braxton arranged it. Your mother, Sentinel representatives, and supposedly me, handing over the Anderson designs in exchange for a clean divorce and custody arrangement. What? Valerie looked genuinely alarmed. Nathan, my mother wouldn't just broker a business deal. If she's really who you say she is, and if this involves her brother's company, she'll want you destroyed. Completely. The certainty in Valerie's voice confirmed what Nathan had already suspected. Patricia's endgame wasn't just about the designs. It was about eliminating Nathan entirely, professionally and possibly personally. Where's Logan? Valerie asked suddenly. Is he safe? He's secure, Nathan assured her. With people I trust. Valerie nodded, relief evident in her expression. Then her phone buzzed with a text message. When she checked it, her face went pale. It's my mother, she said, showing Nathan the screen. Where are you? Meeting in 30 minutes. Bring Nathan or the deal is off. What deal is she talking about? Nathan asked. Valerie shook her head. I don't know. She told me to convince you to come home tonight. Said it was about negotiating custody terms. I thought she was trying to help me salvage something from this mess. Nathan's phone rang. Dale's number. Excuse me, he said, stepping into the hallway to answer. We've got a problem, Dale said without preamble. Two men just tried to break in. Professional job, military-grade equipment. We're secure for now, but they're still out there. Nathan's blood ran cold. Logan. He's okay. Scared, but okay. Ben's with him in the panic room. I've triggered the silent alarm, but police response time out here. No police, Nathan cut him off. These aren't ordinary intruders. Stay locked down. I'm activating Mason's team now. He ended the call and immediately pressed the emergency beacon Mason had given him. When he returned to the living room, Valerie was standing by the window, her face a mask of horrified realization. They're after Logan, aren't they? She asked quietly. Not just your designs. My mother wants to take Logan. It appears that way, Nathan confirmed, his voice deadly calm despite the rage building inside him. What are you going to do? Nathan checked his watch. Spring the trap. But not the one they're expecting. He outlined his modified plan quickly. Valerie listened, her expression shifting from shock to determination. I'm coming with you, she said when he finished. Why should I trust you? Valerie met his gaze directly. Because he's my son too. And because if what you've shown me is true, my mother has been manipulating me my entire life. I want answers as much as you do. Nathan considered her words. Having Valerie present would make Patricia less suspicious, potentially drawing out more of the conspiracy before he revealed his hand. All right, he agreed. But understand this. If at any point I sense you're playing both sides, I won't hesitate to include you in the consequences. Valerie nodded, accepting his terms. I understand. As they prepared to leave, Nathan received a text from Mason. Team deployed. ETA to Dale's location, 10 minutes. Backup team standing by for your position. The final pieces were in place. It was time to end Patricia's game, permanently. Chapter 8, Checkmate. The warehouse district along the East River stood in shadow, illuminated only by occasional security lights and the distant glow of the Manhattan skyline. Warehouse 17, the designated meeting location, appeared abandoned at first glance. Its windows dark, its loading docks empty. Nathan parked 2 blocks away, scanning the area with practiced precision. 3 surveillance vehicles, he noted, pointing out nondescript vans positioned at strategic points. And at least 2 rooftop observers. How can you tell? Valerie asked, following his gaze. Reflected light from equipment. They're watching, waiting to see if I brought backup. They approached on foot, Valerie walking slightly ahead as agreed. Nathan carried a slim briefcase containing what appeared to be the Anderson designs. In reality, a carefully constructed set of false blueprints embedded with tracking software that would activate once opened on Sentinel systems. A man appeared from the shadows as they neared the warehouse entrance. Ms. Lawson, he greeted Valerie with a nod. You're expected inside. His eyes narrowed at Nathan. Both of you. The interior was cavernous, with high ceilings and concrete floors that amplified their footsteps. A section at the far end had been set up with folding tables and chairs, illuminated by portable lights that created harsh shadows. Patricia sat at the center table, flanked by 2 men in expensive suits. Ryan Braxton stood awkwardly to one side, his posture betraying his nervousness. Valerie, Nathan, Patricia greeted them with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. How prompt of you. I appreciate punctuality in business dealings. Is that what this is? Nathan asked coolly. A business dealing? Of course, Patricia replied. The simplest kind. An exchange of assets. Nathan placed his briefcase on the table, but kept his hand on it. Before we proceed, I'd like clarity on exactly what's being exchanged. Patricia gestured to one of the suited men, who spoke in a clipped, professional tone. The terms are straightforward, Mr. Drake. You provide the complete Anderson security designs, including all proprietary technology. In exchange, you receive a clean divorce with minimal financial impact and shared custody of your son. And if I refuse? Patricia's smile turned predatory. Then things become considerably more difficult for you. Financially, legally, personally. The men at Dale's house, Valerie interjected, her voice tight with anger. That was your doing, wasn't it, Mother? Patricia seemed momentarily surprised by Valerie's knowledge, but recovered quickly. A precautionary measure. Logan belongs with his mother, not with a man whose business is about to collapse under federal investigation. What federal investigation? Nathan asked, though he already suspected the answer. The one that will begin tomorrow, the second suited man explained, when evidence emerges that Drake's security consulting has been selling classified technology to foreign entities. Tragic, really. Such a promising career destroyed by greed. Nathan nodded, as if considering this. Interesting approach. Framing me for exactly what you're trying to do. Clever. It's not personal, Patricia said dismissively. Just business. My brother has waited years to acquire your security innovations. The Anderson contract simply presented the perfect opportunity. So Valerie was right, Nathan said, glancing at his wife. This was never about a divorce settlement or custody. This was about destroying me completely. You were never good enough for my daughter, Patricia replied, dropping her business facade as anger crept into her voice. A military grunt who got lucky with a few patents. Valerie deserved better. And you decided what better looked like, Valerie said, the pieces finally connecting. Ryan wasn't a coincidence. You orchestrated everything. Patricia turned to her daughter, impatience evident in her tone. Of course I did. You were wasting your life with him, going nowhere. Ryan has connections, potential. Once Nathan is out of the picture, you and Logan can start fresh. The right way, with the right people. The right people being those you can control, Nathan observed. Patricia's eyes hardened. Enough discussion. The designs, Mr. Drake. Now, or the men at your friend's house will ensure Logan comes home with his mother tonight. One way or another. Nathan opened the briefcase and removed a flash drive, placing it on the table. Everything you want. Designs, schematics, authentication protocols. One of the suited men reached for it, but Nathan kept his finger firmly on the drive. First, call off your men at Dale's house. Patricia nodded to the second man, who made a brief call. Stand down, he ordered. Return to base. Nathan slid the drive across the table. Verification will take time. The files are encrypted with a key that activates only when loaded into a secure server. The first man plugged the drive into a laptop, scanning the encrypted contents. It appears to be comprehensive, he confirmed after a moment. We'll know for certain once our team processes it. Then our business is concluded, Nathan said, rising from his chair. Not quite, Patricia countered. There's the matter of insurance. We'll need you to remain as a consultant during implementation to answer any questions that might arise. Nathan recognized the implied threat. Once the designs were verified, he would become expendable. Of course, I'm always available for consultation. As he spoke, he pressed a button on his watch, the signal Mason was waiting for. One last question, Nathan said casually. How much of this was Bernard's idea, and how much was yours, Patricia? Was destroying me part of the original plan, or did you add that personal touch yourself? Patricia's lips curved into a cold smile. Bernard wanted the technology. I wanted you gone. A perfect alignment of interests. And Ryan? Valerie asked. Was he always part of the plan? A useful tool, Patricia replied dismissively. Easily manipulated by ambition and flattery. Just like your husband was manipulated by his pride. Nathan checked his watch again. Speaking of useful tools, you might want to know that everything said in this warehouse for the past 10 minutes has been transmitted to federal authorities, including your admission of corporate espionage, conspiracy, and attempted kidnapping. Patricia's smile faltered. You're bluffing. The warehouse doors burst open as Mason's team entered in full tactical gear, weapons raised. Behind them came Howard Anderson himself, accompanied by 2 FBI agents. Patricia Hoffman, one of the agents, announced, You're under arrest for conspiracy to commit corporate espionage, extortion, and attempted kidnapping. As the agents moved to secure Patricia and the Sentinel representatives, Nathan turned to Braxton, who stood frozen in shock. Ryan, you have a choice to make, Nathan said quietly. Cooperate fully, tell the authorities everything you know, and you might avoid the worst charges. Or go down with them. Braxton's shoulders slumped in defeat. I'll cooperate. I never wanted it to go this far. Howard Anderson approached Nathan, satisfaction evident in his expression. Perfect execution, Drake. The fake designs already triggered our tracking software when they tried to upload them. We've identified 3 Sentinel servers and a dozen co-conspirators. Nathan nodded, his attention drawn to Valerie, who stood watching her mother being handcuffed with an expression of stunned disbelief. Valerie, he said gently, it's over. She turned to him, tears streaming down her face. Was any of it real? Our marriage? Our life together? Nathan considered the question carefully. Parts of it were. But not enough. His phone buzzed with a message from Dale. Mason's team arrived. We're secure. Logan wants to know when you're coming home. I need to go, Nathan told Valerie. Logan's waiting. As he turned to leave, Valerie called after him. Nathan, what happens now? To us. Nathan paused, looking back at the woman he had once loved, now a stranger entangled in her mother's web of deception. There is no us anymore, Valerie. Just co-parents to a remarkable boy who deserves better than what either of us have given him lately. With that, he walked away, leaving behind the wreckage of betrayal and the promise of a new beginning, one built on truth rather than deception. Chapter 9. The Aftermath. 6 months later, Nathan sat in the bleachers of Logan's school gymnasium, watching his son's basketball team compete in the championship game. Logan had grown taller in the intervening months, his confidence blossoming away from the shadow of family turmoil. Dale settled onto the bench beside him, passing him a cup of coffee. Kid's got game, he observed as Logan executed a perfect pass to his teammate. He's resilient, Nathan agreed. Stronger than I was at his age. The changes of the past half-year had been swift and far-reaching. Patricia had been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison for her role in the corporate espionage scheme. Bernard Hoffman had resigned as CEO of Sentinel Solutions amid the scandal, the company's stock plummeting as clients fled to competitors, primarily Drake's Security Consulting, which had emerged from the ordeal with an enhanced reputation for integrity. Ryan Braxton had cooperated fully with authorities, receiving a suspended sentence in exchange for his testimony. He had resigned from the school and moved out of state, a footnote in the larger drama. The divorce had been finalized 3 months earlier, with Nathan receiving primary custody of Logan. Valerie had moved to Chicago, starting over with a marketing position at a firm unconnected to her mother's influence. She visited Logan monthly, their relationship slowly healing as she worked to rebuild his trust. How's the new house coming along? Dale asked, pulling Nathan from his thoughts. Almost finished, Nathan replied. Logan's excited about having a basketball court in the backyard. They had moved from the Westchester home shortly after the warehouse confrontation, finding a new place farther from the painful memories, but close enough for Logan to remain at his school with his friends. The crowd erupted in cheers as Logan's team scored. Nathan stood, applauding his son's assist. When he sat back down, he noticed a familiar figure entering the gymnasium. Mason, looking oddly out of place in casual clothes. Didn't expect to see you here, Nathan commented as Mason joined them. Thought you'd want to know in person, Mason replied. Final report came in this morning. The operation dismantled Patricia's entire network. 17 arrests across 3 states, all connected to the corporate espionage ring. Nathan nodded his appreciation. Any word on Valerie? Clean, Mason confirmed. Every piece of evidence suggests she was a pawn, not an architect. Manipulated by her mother, but not a willing conspirator in the corporate side of things. The news brought a complex mix of emotions. Nathan had suspected as much, that Valerie's betrayal had been personal rather than professional, but the confirmation provided a strange sort of closure. She called yesterday, Nathan told them. Wants to take Logan for part of the summer. I'm considering it. Dale raised an eyebrow. Forgiveness, Drake? That's new territory for you. Not forgiveness, Nathan clarified. Pragmatism. Logan needs his mother in his life, despite everything. But trust? That's gone forever. The final buzzer sounded. Logan's team had won by 2 points. As the boys celebrated on the court, Nathan felt his phone vibrate. A text from Sophia Bennett. Final settlement from Anderson Corp. Transferred today. Congratulations on the largest contract in company history. The Anderson deal had not only survived the attempted theft, but had expanded significantly. Howard Anderson, impressed by Nathan's handling of the crisis, had commissioned Drake Security for all his global operations, a 5-year contract worth over $100 million. Logan bounded up to them, flushed with victory. Did you see that pass, Dad? Wouldn't have missed it, Nathan assured him, pulling his son into a quick hug. Perfect execution. As they walked to the car afterward, Logan grew uncharacteristically quiet. What's on your mind? Nathan asked. I was thinking about Mom, Logan admitted. About everything that happened. Nathan waited, giving his son space to process his thoughts. She did bad things, Logan continued. But Grandma made her do some of them, right? People make their own choices, Nathan replied carefully. But yes, your grandmother was very manipulative. She controlled people through lies and fear. Logan considered this. But you never let anyone control you. Even when they tried to take everything away. Pride swelled in Nathan's chest at his son's perception. I learned a long time ago that the only person who determines your worth is you. Not your wife, not your in-laws, not even your success or failure. That's why you gave me the compass, Logan realized. So I could find my own way. Nathan smiled. Exactly. As they drove home, Nathan reflected on the journey that had brought them here. The betrayal had been devastating, the wounds deep. But from those wounds had emerged something stronger, a father and son bound by truth, resilience, and mutual respect. The empty box at Logan's birthday party had been meant as an insult, a public humiliation. Instead, it had become the catalyst for clearing away pretense and deception, making room for something genuine to take its place. Nathan glanced at Logan in the passenger seat, the boy already planning strategy for his next game. The future stretched before them. Not perfect, not without challenges, but authentic in a way their life had never been before. Some might call it a happy ending. Nathan knew better. It wasn't an ending at all, but a beginning. One where the promises that mattered would never again be empty. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.